like coffee, bubble tea is not a need yet, but rather it's a trend in this social media aesthetics-driven era. Whatever I eat and drink, I want to post on Instagram, Facebook. My question is, how do you transform this trend into a need?
It's just unfortunate enough in that era, there wasn't a brand that represent the whole entire category. So I think what we managed to do and keep strictly to our own mindset is we are never wanted to be a trend. We are always building a culture building mindset, which means that every store that we put out on the ground is to cultivate the modern tea drinking cultures everywhere we planted our stores. So that is giving us a neck-to-neck comparison to a drinking habit to coffee drinkers. For instance, coffee drinkers occupy the entire morning segment. But after the morning day part, right, what do people drink? People drink tea most of the time. So tea consumption can go as long as from the noon segment all the way until around the clock towards the night. So when we look at our segments, we realize that, we are fortunate enough to occupy people's share of throat from the entire day part. After the morning coffee consumption, we become the functional drinks, we become the indulgent at the later day part as well. So I think that keeps our business model to be vibrant. And also on top of that is we always believe that, our tagline, always more than just tea, is believing that we build a family-oriented menu. So everyone that loves all kinds of drinks will come to our Tealive stores to look at the menu and able to find one of their favorite drinks in the menu. So to build a family-oriented menu is very crucial to us. And today, I think it turned out to be the greatest strategy we ever built for the brand. So when we built our total drink menu, you can see that there were 8 specific major categories, from fruit tea to craft tea to milk tea to chocolate to Japanese-inspired concoction to smoothie to coffee. So from the diverse product range and category, right, it gives us number one access to all sorts of different demographic coming from a family demographic in that sense. So I must say that, we wasn't start off our menu a decade ago in a family-driven menu. So that time we are very milk tea focused and very bubble tea focused. Today, we went on from used to be 60% drinks that associate with the pearl. Today, when you look at the total menu, right, it's only 15% of the drinks which included the pearl. So we have slowly moved ourselves away from a bubble tea drinker to a lifestyle tea player. So I think the aspiration is eventually to become the largest drink operator in that region that allows us to occupy all the markets that cater all the drinking needs, catering for all different demographic and age group in terms of their drinking needs, to move people from drinking ready to drink into made to order. So when you look at our segment, we call made to order, which means that people get to customize their drinks. I want less sugar, more toppings, no ice. So we want to move people from going to the 7-Eleven convenience store and start picking up the canned drink, for instance, soft drinks, from spending soft drinks to going into our stores to start customizing drinks that brew in front of them. So it's a conversion from people in RTD into made to order segment. That's how we look at the overall transition. So I think to the world, it might sound as short as 42 days. But the 42 days to us, it sounds like forever. So I think what happening between that 42 days was the high intensive stresses, and where I first did the deal with the end of the world, where at one point of time we were taught that, we're going to lose our brand, we're going to lose our home, we're going to lose all the stakeholder and as well as our asset and our business. So that's the first thing upon my mind when we first got termination notice from our principal. We went on and accept the fact after 1 week to feel that, we have to turn this page together with our team. Because when you strip off something or when you strip off anything from us, what truly shaped the brand is the people behind the brand, which is the soul and the spirit of the brand. So we went on and accept the fact that it was a unilateral termination coming from our principal, and we will have to work together with our people to really turn the page. So from there, the first thing is we accepted the termination after 1 week, and with that come next, right, we only have 35 days to fulfill to change all the entire branding within 35 days, which is under the contract. So we went on and pursue a highly aggressive and intensive rebranding exercise, bridging our entire supply chain from Taiwan, looking out for new supply chain, which we have never done that before, because we usually get 100% supply coming from our principal. But today we have to stood up on the other side of the position where we have to be principal ourselves. So that was a nightmare, to be fair. But I think what can really keep us going through is because our people that fully supported us on our decision to move on together, and all the stakeholders coming from the mall owners, the landlords, coming from our franchisee, everyone was very supportive towards the decision to move on and change to new brand. We took on the courage and went on the journey, and we completed that between 42 days timeline. In the Chinatime history, we has always wanted to look beyond just Malaysia, because I think we have cracked the model and become the market leader in Malaysia just in between a short 3 years. So on the 4th year, 5th year, and 6th years, we always been in talk with our principal to say, would there be a chance to trigger Singapore market, a chance to trigger Thailand market, or any South Asian market, and we always get rejected. So I think having that global mindset is always begin since the Chinatime day. So I think when we rebranded, the first thing that popped up my mind is I want to make Tealive brand a global brand that's originated from Malaysia. So from that mindset onwards, we went on the quest to look for right strategic partners. So I think we are lucky enough, just after our rebranding, that we garnered a lot of our media attention at that time. There was a lot of huge international interest that wanted to franchise Tealive. So I think Vietnam being one of the most prominent one, giving the populations was big enough, giving the local partners was very strategic. So that's why we decided to move on the market very quickly. I think first credit goes 110% to the team. I think without the team, even the greatest idea couldn't take to execution. So I think I owe it to the team, because I think the team are super dedicated, and I think that's where the reason why we were able to rebrand it successfully that time. So we went on a very aggressive expansion mode, but not blindly put it to fact, not blindly expanding, because I think we always go around our number one mission. Our number one mission, which is to build the modern tea drinking cultures everywhere we planted our stores, one neighborhood, one community, and one country at a time. So we went on, followed tightly on our mission statements, and then we realized that we managed to break through a lot of our quick channel. Number one being the petrol channel, because we believe that Malaysia number one living lifestyle is highly integrated with petrol stations. So it doesn't mean that Malaysia go to the mall every week or every 2 weeks, right? But Malaysians go to petrol station at least 1 or twice a week. That's where the Malaysian daily lifestyle is. So we've been talking to ourselves that if we can crack the model in petrol stations, and Malaysia, given the fact that we have a huge petrol station network, which is 3,400 petrol stations across 5 brands, if we can crack the model, we can crack the Malaysian lifestyle. So we went on aggressively to crack the model, and in our transition to Tealive in 2018, we managed to sign a huge partnership agreement or MOU with Petronas to build the largest bubble tea footprint across their total network in a joint venture partnership. So I think that's where we really crack the model and start expanding very quickly multiple channels from suburban to rural area, whereby before that our previous life is always in the mall, in the urban city or suburban. But eventually after the transition, we go to multiple format transportation hub, LRT, MRT station, petrol stations, drive-through, and then we evolve very quickly into small town in the bigger format. So I think that's the reason we managed to achieve the desired store count and also bring our brand closer to local community in different areas. The number one duty for being a market leader is it has to be highly resourceful and sensitive about the global drinking trend. So the global drinking trend today has nothing to do away from plant-based. Even the eating habits are skilling towards plant-based product, plant-based meat, plant-based sort of ingredients. So plant-based become a huge global eating and drinking habits. So what we did is at the last year, we actually signed up with Minor Figure, which is the largest oatmeal milk suppliers in the world, in UK, to get the huge master rights or distributor rights to use the plant-based milk across our menu. So I think what we did is we want to keep ourselves to be highly resourceful and sensitive about all the global drinking trend that will kids into this part of the world, and we will be the first to capitalize on that. So I think that's where we're looking at plant-based being a huge part of our global drinking trend going forward.